It's a call to action at UC Berkeley as the White House pulls billions of dollars from other universities and sends international students packing.
It's about keeping our democracy together because it's being stripped apart right in front of our eyes.
We'll meet members of the Cal community who hope that they don't become President Trump's next target.
And without freedom of speech, we really can't do our research.
Plus, we'll introduce you to a longtime bookstore owner who has to turn a new page.
We have 40,000 books to pack up.
How one of the leaders helping San Mateo's downtown recovery ended up getting pushed out.
I wasn't going to go bankrupt to try and pay the landlord.
Plus, it's been nearly 100 days since Daniel Lurie became San Francisco's mayor.
Today is not a victory lap. It's a progress report.
A look at how he's attacked some of the city's biggest issues and where he says there's much more work to do. And later, a unique future for a piece of BART's past.
And it felt like stepping back in time.
What the Oakland Ballers plan to do with an old BART car that was just dropped on their doorstep.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. At colleges all across the country, students, faculty, and other supporters are rallying against what they say are threats to the future of higher education. San Francisco state faculty, they gathered outside City Hall protesting the state's plan to slash nearly $400 million from the CSU system's budget. But over at UC Berkeley, the focus was on how the Trump administration has targeted university funding and foreign students. Kenny Choi joins us live from Cal, where there is some real fear on campus. Kenny.
Juliette, good evening. Students, faculty, and members of this community showed up in large numbers from what I could estimate a crowd in the several hundreds. They came to support international students and protest threats by the Trump administration to cut federal funding to a growing number of elite universities. Edward Miguel is an economics professor at Berkeley. He's concerned about the impacts as several universities across the country face federal funding cut threats.
I'm really here to defend science and research. There's been so many attacks on government funding, on research universities around the country in the last few months since the Trump administration took over.
Critics of the administration say if Trump can dictate how a university uses federal funding, academic freedom is in peril.
We have to speak, debate, tell the truth, and without freedom of speech, we really can't do our research.
We are not going to submit.
Former U.S. Labor Secretary and now public policy professor at Berkeley, Robert Reich, applauded Harvard University's stance this week not to comply with a list of demands by the administration, including changes to admissions policies. Harvard could lose more than $2 billion in federal funding.
This is an issue that goes beyond issues of just academic freedom. It goes to the core meaning of freedom in this country.
Reich also highlighted the more than 1,400 university students and recent graduates who have had their visas revoked since January, when Trump threatened to deport non-citizens who participated in demonstrations against the war in Gaza.
I ask you to help international students understand that we have their backs.
I don't think we should even call them deportations, since deportations would insinuate that they are free on the other side.
Walnut Creek resident and Army veteran Brian Donahue and other community members wanted their voices to be heard in support of academic freedom.
I support the faculty and the students' rights to express their opinion. My God, that's what, if we don't think, how are we going to progress as a society?
Even though it's a rally, it's about keeping our democracy together because it's being stripped apart right in front of our eyes.
It's such a special place. It's one of the best research environments in the world, and we want to keep it that way for another generation of students and scholars.
Former U.S. Labor Secretary Robert Reich also addressed whether Berkeley will be on that list of targeted schools. He said without a doubt the Trump administration will be coming and that the university's response should be no to all of their demands. Juliette?
All right, Kenny, thanks so much. Well, the White House is yet to fully target Bay Area schools like Berkeley, but as you can see, plenty of other schools have had hundreds of millions, if not billions, withheld. The Trump administration argues these schools have not addressed anti-Semitism on campus. So far, only Harvard has refused to address Trump's demands. Meantime, as Kenny mentioned, the Trump administration has revoked visas or legal status from more than 1,400 international students at U.S. colleges and universities. So that includes dozens in the Bay Area, from Cal and Stanford to CSUs and even community colleges. San Francisco's Mayor Daniel Lurie is talking progress ahead of his 100th day in office tomorrow. Lurie spoke today at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, outlining what he's done to tackle the city's biggest issues. He says he's unified 7 key departments to tackle homelessness as a team and made it a goal to make 1,500 more shelter and recovery beds available. Lurie also says over the last 3 months, he's made headway in bringing the city back to life.
With a safe, bustling downtown, we will attract businesses and visitors. We will create jobs. We will generate revenue and provide a better quality of life for everyone. We are trending in the right direction. Street encampments are dropping, and violent crime is down 15%.
So the mayor emphasized this isn't a victory lap, it is a progress report.
These first 100 days have taught me that we must remain vigilant about the challenges we face. We must continue to cross entrenched lines of difference, and we must boldly move toward better days ahead.
The question now, are San Franciscans seeing a change in the city since Lurie has taken office?
I think a lot of things that shunned away people was the crime and just the homelessness and the public drug use. And now it's something that is not visible, but I've also noticed it has moved on to different neighborhoods.
Coming up at 7, we're getting our own progress report from ordinary residents as well as a former mayor. While San Francisco still has ways to go with its downtown recovery plan, San Mateo has already bounced back in a big way. A local bookstore owner played a key role in that recovery. But now downtown San Mateo is doing so well, he can't afford to stay open there. And as our Max Darrow explains, he's already got a plan B for B Street Books.
In business for 16 years in San Mateo, there are many chapters of B Street Books' story. And in the one currently being written, there's a lot to unpack and a lot for Lewis Cohen to pack up.
Well, we have 40,000 books to pack up.
He's made the tough decision to leave downtown San Mateo, not for a lack of business, but rather the surrounding business boom.
It's tough.
He says the building changed hands before the end of his lease. He's been month to month ever since, and the landlord upped his rent.
Like triple what we're paying. It's just not in the cards. I really like the store, but I wasn't going to go bankrupt to try and pay the landlord.
But there's a tricky plot twist to this story. Cohen has been an active business leader in downtown San Mateo's post-pandemic revitalization efforts.
It is ironic that we've been a part of making things better and bringing things back after COVID, and now we're having to move because we can't afford the rent.
It's tough for Mackenzie Jacobic, the executive director of the Downtown San Mateo Association, to see B Street Books say goodbye.
I mean, mostly sadness. It's going to be missed quite a bit, and Lou himself will be very missed.
That said, she says the downtown landscape is changing.
There's nostalgia here, but there's also progress.
The city saw the completion of one major development in the last few years, and several more are currently in the works. And within the last week or so, she says multiple new restaurants and retail spaces opened up.
We don't have a ton of vacancies. I asked the city the other day, and they said we have about 3%. Any other buildings you see that are empty are due for redevelopment.
The story doesn't end here for B Street Books. Cohen says he's relocating the shop to Burlingame.
Yeah, a lot of my customers have indicated that They will be following us to...
He was able to get a deal for a long-term lease at a rate that worked for everyone involved.
I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to do well there.
Gina McNutt, Cohen's co-author to this chapter, is eager to help write the next one.
It's exciting. There's obviously a lot to be doing in the next couple weeks.
While some people in his position could have seen this as the end of the story, Cohen wasn't ready to call it the final chapter.
It is a labor of love.
So for now, he'll close this one with, "To be continued."
B Street Books is closing its doors in San Mateo for the final time this Monday, April 21st. Their new Burlingame location on Burlingame Avenue, right off El Camino Real, is set to open early next month. Well, less than 2 years after the Oakland Unified School District and teachers' unions reached their last contract agreement, the union is threatening to strike again for one day on May 1st, that is. The union says it's over the district's lack of transparency about its finances. The district is trying to work out solutions to address a $95 million deficit. But union leaders say they're in the dark on how many staff positions are being cut and who's impacted. As a result, the Oakland Education Association has begun a strike authorization vote. The district released a statement about the potential strike, saying, "We remain committed to transparency and open communication with OEA and are hopeful that we can work together to find solutions and ensure a strong finish to the school year for all Oakland students." An update now in the ongoing drama surrounding the VTA and its employees' contract negotiations. Today, the transit agency announced that 3 of the 4 unions ratified the new 4-year deal, which include a 14% raise spaced out over that time, enhanced dental and vision benefits, and unspecified improvements to workplace policies. Well, in the meantime, VTA says it will be issuing credits to anyone who prepaid for monthly or annual passes but couldn't use them during the strike. Still ahead here at 6, how San Francisco leaders are taking lessons from the worst disaster in the city's history more than a century later.
It really highlights how we have to be prepared for the next coming disaster, and we are working tireless daily for that.
Plus, how investigators tracked down hundreds of dollars worth of copper wire that was stolen from an East Bay business.
After a lot of cloud cover and even some drizzle this morning, skies cleared out this afternoon, at least temporarily. Didn't help our temperatures a whole lot. The warmest spots only climbed up into the upper 60s, but more sunshine and warmer temperatures are in store as we head into Easter weekend. Details coming up in First Alert Weather.
A driver was killed in a freak accident on 680 this afternoon. It happened just south of the Stone Valley off-ramp in Alamo. CHP says the tire on a blue Ford van detached. It bounced across the center divide and smashed into this white Toyota Tundra, killing the driver. No word on what caused the tire to come off or if the driver will face any charges. Police in Pittsburgh say they tracked down and recovered hundreds of dollars in stolen copper wire. And you can see in these pictures that they posted on Facebook, it's right there, at least 7 large reels of that copper. And then take a look at this drone video police shared with us. Investigators say a local business that was hit helped them track the suspect down to this encampment. That's where they say they discovered several other stolen items, along with tools, some drugs, and a replica gun. Tomorrow will mark the 119th anniversary of San Francisco's deadly 1906 earthquake that killed more than 3,000 people and set off devastating fires that destroyed thousands of homes and buildings. Today, the city honored its firefighters who have shown that same resilient spirit that helped the city bounce back. Photojournalist Rick Villaroman was there.
The 1906 earthquake was the greatest disaster in our city's history.
At the 119th annual 1906 Earthquake Survivors Award ceremony, Mayor Lurie reminded those in attendance the devastation the city endured.
Over 3,000 lives lost, 80% of the city destroyed, and hundreds of thousands left without homes.
But he also reminded people,
in the face of those tragedies, we have always rebuilt.
And it's also a time to honor those people who survived and pay it forward to those who are determined to be prepared for the next disaster. Our first responders.
When they're called, they come running, and we as a city, we have their back.
I'd like to present the survivor's helmet to Chief Dean Crispin.
In the spirit of preparedness and self-sacrifice, this year's recipient was the newly appointed Fire Chief, Dean Crispin.
It is a great honor, and it really highlights how we have to be prepared for the next coming disaster, and we are working tireless daily for that.
Remembering a time of great sacrifice in his own career, Chief Crispin shared this about the importance of community.
I was a responder at 9/11 in New York City, and I learned a lot from that. One of the things that is incredible about those types of incidents is watching people come together after those incidents and help each other and find comfort in family, community. After the 1906 earthquake, a lot of folks went to Golden Gate Park and unified there. In New York City, they went to Central Park, and I know that our city will unite should we have another disaster.
United and resilient, both past and present. Honors also go to the firefighters who responded to our neighbors in the Southern California wildfires.
When our friends and our neighbors are in distress, we got to come running because we know they would do the same thing for us.
And like the first responders of the 1906 earthquake,
They faced a lot of challenges, high winds, heat, massive amounts of fire. They did the most to protect the most, and we're extremely proud of them.
8 people in San Jose have been displaced after a Victorian home caught fire. Our chopper capturing the aftermath this afternoon at the home on North Street near East Santa Clara Street. Firefighters say no one was inside when they arrived at the scene, but one person was taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. Fire crews also rescued a dog that was trapped inside a closet upstairs. We'll be right back, but first, here is your ski report.
Hey, Johnny Mosley here. I know you're excited to get on the mountain. Let's head over to the map and check out the conditions at Palisades and all your other favorite resorts. This is the Toyota Tahoe Report.
We have reached that point in the season where conditions are deteriorating and pretty rapidly, but beggars can't be choosers when it comes to spring skiing. Most of the resorts are still reporting variable conditions, which essentially means what you see is what you get, but it's better than nothing. High temperatures both Saturday and Sunday will reach the 50s, and overnight lows will only dip briefly to around freezing, which is just a little too warm for the resorts to do any snowmaking of their own. Farther down the line, there are some signs of light snow in the Sierra for the last weekend of April. Far from a guarantee, of course, but we'll keep you updated here in the Toyota Tahoe Report.
From that vantage point, which is so beautiful right now, who would have thought we had drizzle this morning in certain parts?
Enough to add up to a few hundredths of an inch of moisture. It's hard to call it rainfall because it was just kind of hanging in the air, and if you're driving around, the odds are that you were driving into the rain as opposed to it falling onto you. But still, it was a little bit damp out there for a little while this morning for parts of the Bay Area. That's about it for the moisture for a little while, because now we're going to get back into a warmer pattern with more sunshine. Here's the satellite perspective, and we're seeing the cloud cover that was over the Bay Area sliding farther to the south. There's more out over the Pacific that's going to be surging back towards the coast as we head through the rest of this evening. So that clearing trend, kind of temporary. Let's take a look at the big monitor here and check out what conditions look like as we look outside from Sutro Tower, looking off to the east and southeast. Temperature still in the upper 50s in San Francisco. Everybody else is holding on to the low to mid 60s, anywhere from 60 exactly in Oakland to 65 in Concord and 64 degrees in Santa Rosa. Those numbers will drop off as we head through the rest of tonight, and we are going to see that fog and low cloud cover redeveloping. Here's Futurecast's depiction of the fog as we head through the overnight, and you see a good push across the bay and into the inland valleys by early Friday morning. Might slow you down a little bit for the Friday morning commute, but it's not going to last all that long, especially inland. It should back up to the coast by about 11 o'clock or so in the morning, and we should see a little bit of sunshine peeking through even for coastal parts of the Bay Area once again by tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures are going to warm up from that normal start. We'll be in the upper 40s and low 50s to start the day, and then a mix of 60s and 70s, upper 60s and low to mid 70s for the North Bay, just 58 degrees for Bodega Bay. You're going to be the cool spot across the region. The warm spots will be 78 degrees in Fairfield and Antioch, so back to a more typical 20-degree difference between the coast and far inland. Temperatures for the most part around the Bay, 60s and low 70s, with mostly low 70s in the Santa Clara Valley as well. Temperatures might back down by a couple of degrees by Saturday and into It's Easter weekend. We'll see a little bump for Easter Sunday itself, but all in all, the weekend is looking really nice. Let's take a look at the dog walking forecast, and as we do every Thursday, we are featuring an adoptable dog from the East County Animal Shelter. This is Thelma, and her very soulful eyes. Just gaze into her eyes and feel calm. Temperatures in Dublin reaching up to around 70 degrees during the afternoon. I'm going to put a link up on social media, all forms of social media, as soon as the weathercast is over. If you are interested in adopting Sweet Thelma, we're going to have winds that are going to be noticeable the next couple of days, but again, they should be one category lower in general as we head through the day tomorrow. Not an overly breezy day. Some of the strongest gusts maybe topping 20 miles an hour. Those are going to be pretty few and far between on Friday, but those spots will be more numerous on Saturday. It's going to be a breezier day, and that corresponds with a slight drop in temperatures, but really just getting back closer to what's normal for this time of year. And the pollen count is going to remain pretty high as we head through Easter weekend into early next week. The highest category tomorrow, slight drop Saturday, and that back into that highest category by Sunday and Monday. But there are signs way down the line, beyond the scope of the 7-day forecast. The 6 to 10-day outlook and the 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center both show a weak signal towards wetter than normal conditions for the Bay Area. But in late April, wetter than normal means basically any kind of moisture whatsoever. We'll keep an eye on that for you as we head through the end of the month. In the 7-day forecast, though, no rain chances, just some minor ups and downs to our temperatures along the coast, down a little bit farther by Wednesday and Thursday of next week as your highs return to the mid-50s. Temperatures Bayside, same up and down pattern, just the ups are a little higher, the lows drop off a little bit more. Low 70s for the warmest day on Monday, and that'll be the warmest day inland as well. Temperatures peaking around 80 degrees, but then it's down the other side of the temperature roller coaster with highs, even inland next Wednesday and Thursday, back down into the upper 60s as we head into the last weekend in April.
This is the last? No, it's hard to
Next
believe.
weekend is the last weekend in April.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And then this weekend's Easter.
Yes.
Okay.
Still. That's correct.
Thank you. All right, when we come back, all right, the A's didn't want it, so now the Ballers have big plans for this decommissioned BART car. But here's a look first at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
I'm Dr. John LaPook in New York. Research could be paving the way for a weight loss solution in a daily pill. That story next on the CBS Evening News.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
A piece of Bay Area history arrived at the Oakland Ballers' doorstep. BART delivered a retired legacy car to the team today. The Ballers say they plan to turn the BART train into a concession stand at Raymonde Park. BART says it offered the car to the A's back in 2023, but Oakland's former baseball team declined before bolting to Sacramento. So earlier I asked one of the Ballers executives about how they plan to transform it. What does it look like? What are you going to do with it?
I was actually just on it, and it felt like stepping back in time. I was able to sit in the driver's seat, which was really cool. I think our plan for right now is to make it a concession stand or a bar, a bar with tea at the end, and have it there at the ballpark so fans can come up to it. They can take pictures with it. They can get refreshments with it and just really celebrate this cherished piece of Bay Area history.
So Raymonde Park is about a mile away from the West Oakland BART station. On game days, the Ballers offer free shuttles to and from the park. And last month, we mentioned that one of the BART legacy cars will be turned into a vacation home outside Yosemite. Ooh, it's likely to be finished by the end of this year. Other decommissioned cars went to Bay Area fire departments, a railway museum, even a pizza place in Hayward. That's it for us. The CBS Evening News with Maurice Dubois and John Dickerson is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back right here in 30 minutes with more local news just for you at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.